Hi there everybody, really good to have you along, and today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. Now I've dropped a few hints about the model railway that I'm planning on developing up in the loft of this house, and it's quite a big loft and nobody to this date really has done much with it, so I thought I'd change that, and today I went up there to do the initial review, so let's have a look and see what I found. Right, well, probably looks weird because we've got an infrared lens on, but we're going to be going up here and investigating a couple of things. Firstly, the space that I have available for a model railway after a loft conversion. The conversion's still got to happen, but also we're getting a few weird scrabbling noises. So, right, you can tell really just how exposed potentially it is up here without any of the stuff in place for lining it. I'm just seeing, the previous owners have put this kind of stuff, like black bag stuff up. And the reason behind all of this is just that because the roof was rendered underneath. I'm just, I think, hoping that is not water. No, it's not. Bits of cement. The rendering on the underside of the slates is all coming apart. So, first things first, it's, as is always the way with these things, I'm just going to put that phone down there. As is always the way with these things, there's never quite as much space as you imagine there to be. But we've got I think they're purlins. So there's a good deal of space actually underneath them. They're slightly higher than I was remembering, which is good. I can actually stand upright here, but what else is interesting is there appears to be a gap over the top of the wall straight into the next house. I'll have to sort that out. That's not good news. Yeah, well, we'll sort it out. And then there's a load of space down here. This sort of temporary botched thing, not us, previous owner. I'm going to board out into there, and underneath us, what you see is insulation, but there's actually floorboards underneath that. But I've got to line all of this. Let's just see what we can see. Yeah, it's just the underside of the slates in there. So you can see that's all the boxes from model railway stuff, all stored out of the way. Got them wrapped up in black bags. I'm glad to see actually that there's no sign of little critters in this part of the loft. But what I'm going to do is just down over there, I've got to crawl in and along because that's where we're hearing the noises. And ultimately all that you see there, that's all going to become part of this internal area. But I need to do some measuring to get the width of insulation I need cutting. So at some point I need to come up here and do that. I've got to look and make sure there's no leaks as well. Don't like leaks unless they're in a leek and potato soup. So I'm just going to turn the camera off whilst I get into position. So I'm right down under the eaves. This is where we heard the scrabbling. So I don't know how well any of this is going to hold up. It's really difficult to film in here. But I can't find any trace of it's getting dusty as well. Any real trace of anything managing to get in here. I think we're good. I think possibly what we're hearing is stuff scrabbling around on the other side of the slates. So it's probably going to look really weird because we've got a UV lens on so we could see right down under the eaves. But this is the space that's available. It looks a mess now, an absolute mess. As I said before, we've got floorboards underneath all of this insulation. And the plan is, if I go over here, so basically this is what we've got to deal with. I'm going to be putting insulation between these cross pieces, and then in turn I'm going to lay crosswise more insulation over the top. And actually what I'm looking at here, if it proves too awkward to get insulation to fit between those, because you do want some good degree of ventilation, you don't want the insulation pressing hard up against the underside of the roof, it might actually work out better to just lay it all crosswise, left to right over the top of all this, and leave quite a big gap underneath those roof beams. I'll just see how it goes. I'm going to have to improvise a lot. I don't want to disturb the roof. Ultimately, what we've got to do is to have the roof redone. It's not immediately pressing. It all seems reasonably okay at the moment, but always nice to have it thoroughly checked out. And I want roofing felt underneath the slates, and also just check and make sure that none of the nails that are holding the slates in place have rotted away. They're supposed to be copper nails so that you don't get that problem. Unfortunately, it seems a lot of builders cut corners back in the day and used steel ones which rust through, and that's when you start to get dropping slates. So there's quite a big gap just down there. See where the shadow, if the shadow's coming out, is just touching. I'm going to actually go in here now and just check and make sure that there's not an issue with the roof just there. So I'm going to shut off the filming and go and take a quick look. So actually we seem alright in there. There's no trace whatsoever of critters. We were wondering whether it could be squirrels, rats, mice, birds. Really difficult to tell, but no, I think they're on the outside. It's a strange sound when you're inside in bed, but I think because there's no lining underneath, as you've seen, then those noises come through really quite loud. I'm just having a look at the underside up here. This looks alright. And the plan for the model railway is, it may actually be not too bad in terms of space. So this sort of temporary type wall is coming out here and boarding behind there. So the layout will be able to go all the way into there, sweep round, and then come back along this wall, round the back of the loft hatch, and that's actually a slightly bigger area than I'd anticipated, which is good, and then meet back up with itself. And that's actually going to provide quite a large model railway, and my idea is to have it on two separate layers. I like the idea of a fiddle yard on the lower level and the actual model railway on the upper level, so that the model railway itself can have plenty of scenery and not feel crowded with stock. I've also got some display cabinets from downstairs which I'm going to move up and I'll put on the wall here. This wall will get insulated. Nothing will be left as bare brick, because otherwise it's a massive heat sink. What I'll be doing is doing much the same trick that I've done in other rooms of the house. Build a wooden frame, infill with this type insulation. There's actually quite a bit already up here. And then board over the top and maybe even carpet tile over that to improve the acoustics. We do have electrics up here. There's a twin plug socket just down there in the corner behind the drum kit box, and there's also a light fitting, so there's definitely plenty that can be done with relative ease up here. But it's really quite dusty. You can probably hear in my voice that my voice is struggling a little bit. When all this insulation is moved out of the way, it won't be necessary. There is insulation under the floorboards, but the idea is this insulation will move into the void behind these sort of thin plywood walls built up, so that that's well insulated, and the solid stuff that's going to go and make a room out of this will negate the need to have all this on the floor. Well, that was good fun, wasn't it? And I'm hoping that maybe you'll join me for the next few episodes of this as we put together a full-on loft conversion and put together the model railway up there. So so much potential, and it's going to be great, isn't it? Anyway, thanks again for watching. Don't forget to like this video, share it too, and also subscribe to the channel if you've not already done so, and ring that bell, and you'll be the first to know about new videos as and when they go up, so that'll keep you bang up to date with this really good project. But until next time, you take really good care of yourself. And this is me, Jennifer Kirk, saying you take good care, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now. Today's video has been brought to you in part thanks to the generous donation of my fans on Patreon, and an extra special huge thanks goes out to Anthony Kidson, Mark Anthony, Michael Churchwood, Mark McShane, Bob Threeton, Alec Ralph, Anthony Hunt, and William Wade. If you'd like to help support the show, head on over to patreon.com/Jennifer Kirk. Thank you. Today's video has been brought to you by my books, Bringing Home the Stars, Twinkle Little Star, and also you can get the complete comic collections of All Over the House, Books 1, Books 2, and also the wacky zany Life of Knobty Mouse. Thanks, and catch you later.